One of the questions I often get as I travel across Canada and speak on university campuses, when I speak to Christians, one of the questions we often get is this very one. How can I effectively share Christ and talk about what I believe at university? It's so hard. There are so many other faiths around. How do I share Christ without appearing intolerant of my Muslim friends, my Buddhist friends, my Hindu friends? All the atheism is so entrenched. How on earth do I commend Christ to my atheist friends without looking like a religious nutcase? Well, we could spend a long time on this topic, but there are a few things I think I always like to begin sharing when it comes to this. Number one is this. We need to remember that the reason that people come to believe anything is not for intellectual reasons alone. So simply arguing with people is never going to convince them of the claims of the gospel. You cannot argue anyone into the kingdom of God in the first place. It's not biblical. It requires a work of God's Spirit in their hearts. But as we present Christ, as we present the claims of Christianity, we need to remember that people make decisions on three levels. They do so for intellectual reasons, they do for emotional reasons, and they do for pragmatic reasons. And we need to operate as Christians when we share our faith on all three levels. So number one, we need to be giving reasons why we believe what we believe. We need to tell people why we have the hope that we have. Secondly, we need to show how the Christian faith answers those great existential questions of the human heart, questions of meaning. What is life all about? Questions of right and wrong. How do we navigate those difficult ethical challenges? Questions of purpose and destiny. We need to show how the Christian faith addresses those deep desires of the human heart. And then thirdly, the pragmatic level. We need to show people the difference that being a Christian makes. If being a Christian does not make a difference to our everyday lives, then our non-Christian friends will quite rightly look at us and go, there is no point in any of this. We need intellectual answers that scratch that existential itch of the human heart, and answers that work out in real life. We also need to remember that our character needs to measure up to our words. People need to look at us and see a difference in us as Christians. If our friends on the university campuses don't see a difference in how we live our lives as Christians, they will rightly conclude that what we say is false. The Irish evangelist Gypsy Smith from the 19th century famously said this. He said there are 5 Gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke and John, and the life of the individual Christian. Most people will not read the first 4. We need to be people whose words and whose actions measure up, and who engage people with every level: intellectual, existential and pragmatic.